Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Melissa, and if you enjoy true crime videos then please subscribe to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different that really struck out to me. I'm going to be discussing the cases of two boys who disappeared in London because I personally think we should entertain the idea that there could be a link, and I'm going to get into the reasons why. So today we are talking about Andrew Gosden. He was a 14-year-old boy who disappeared in 2007 after leaving his home in Doncaster to travel by train up to London, bunking off school for an unknown reason. After he's seen leaving King's Cross station, he is never seen or heard from again. Secondly, a 16-year-old accountancy student called Alex, who was last seen by his friend leaving their home in Islington, North London, after staying for a few days. He left the home and seemed to have been travelling home. He was just days away from his 17th birthday, but he never arrived home and he has never been seen or heard from again either. Before we continue, I just want to put out a disclaimer that I do not know either of these boys. I was not there when this happened, and my opinion is formed just from the information that is accessible to me online. I really want to talk about these two cases and how I personally feel like they could be connected, but again, I might be completely wrong and these cases may be completely unrelated. But I think it's important to entertain the idea that they might not be. Firstly, let's get into Andrew Gosden's disappearance. Now, I want to start by saying that Andrew's case has received a ton more publicity and media coverage. It's extremely sad because they both equally deserve the same amount, but if it seems like I'm talking more about Andrew, it's only because there is more information out there. So Andrew, as I said, actually lived in Doncaster, and on one morning in September 14th, 2007, he woke up and it was a Friday. He had school. His mum said that he woke up a little later than usual and seemed a bit more agitated, but she didn't think anything else of it, and he prepared to get ready for school. So he put on his uniform and left his home at about 8:05 a.m. But he didn't actually get the bus to school that morning. Instead, he went to a cash machine a few miles from his home and withdrew £200. He is then captured on a neighbour's CCTV footage walking back on his road and returning to his home at about 8:25 a.m. He goes into the home and apparently takes off his uniform. He puts it in the washing machine as he normally did, and then he gets changed into a Slipknot band t-shirt because Andrew was really into heavy metal and that sort of thing. So he put on one of his favourite band t-shirts and then seems to leave his home. He then takes the short walk to Doncaster train station, where he asks the ticket operator for a one-way ticket to London. The operator asks him if he'll be needing a return. As we know, in London, a return is sometimes just 50p or £1 more, so it makes a lot more sense financially to just go for this. But he said to them that he did not need a return ticket and just took the one way. Andrew, after inspection, actually had a further £100 in his bedroom that he had saved for birthdays and Christmases, which he didn't take. He also didn't take a charger for his PSP. When he left his home, he literally had the clothes on his back, his PSP, some money, as I mentioned, and also his wallet. He did not have his passport, and he did not take all the money he would need if he was going to run away. Andrew is seen arriving at King's Cross station at about 11:30 that morning, and he is picked up on CCTV cameras. He looks like he leaves the station, and after that, he's never seen again, and he never returns home. You will likely recognise Andrew as he is one of the main faces for a missing persons campaign, and I know personally I've seen his face my whole life pretty much since I was little, and that's because he went missing in London and his case is so publicised. He's the little boy with the glasses and the Justin Bieber-y hair, and he is plastered all around London on various posters and billboards. So the theories with Andrew range quite a bit, from the fact that he may have been lured online by a sexual predator and was asked to meet them in London. They then took him and murdered him. There's also theories that he may have just not wanted to go to school that day and take a trip to London. Now, he actually had relatives who lived in the London area, so it was actually one of his favourite places. So that's another theory. Also, there was a band playing that Andrew really liked around the same time when he went to London. So to me, being a 14-year-old at one point, I can honestly see someone doing that and bunking off school to go and see, whether it be a band or a celebrity or an event. I can see a 14-year-old boy doing that. Lastly, people think that he just ran away, that he had so much pressure in school. He was actually extremely clever. He was a math student and he had 100% attendance, and he didn't receive pressure from his family, but people think that maybe because he was excelling so much, maybe he just didn't want to have that pressure anymore and just run away. But my issue here is, if he was going to run away, why did he not take all the money that he possibly could? Why did he not take his passport? And why did he not take his PSP charger? We know what teenage boys are like with their PSP and their Xbox. I really don't see why he would just take his PSP without a charger, unless he was just going for a day, which would make sense, because he could have had enough charge in his PSP to last him the train ride there and the train ride back. And it would explain the minimal amount of belongings he had with him. The fact that he probably was just going to London for a day for whatever reason. But of course, I'm sure what throws you off is the fact that he didn't ask for a return ticket for just 50p more, which really does throw Andrew's case into a lot of opinions, because it doesn't make sense. But at the same time, he may not have been listening. He might have been on his PSP. He might not have even known that was the case. He might not have been coming back that day. He might have been planning to come back in the early hours of the morning and he was just gonna get another ticket. He might have just bunked the trains, So I feel like there is a few different answers for that. As much as I don't want to force my opinion down people's throats, I understand everyone has a different view on it, but I personally do believe the theory that he just went there for a day and he met with foul play. Someone maybe offered him a ride, or he trusted someone. He met someone at a concert, an older man or some sort of predator, and they did him harm. But again, that's just my opinion, because I really doubt he ran away. He was 14. I don't see how a 14-year-old boy has the means to run away and not be seen again for the next 10 years. He didn't have a passport. Although he was clever, I just don't think he would be able to disappear like that into thin air, and he also didn't really have a reason to. As I said, it's really frustrating how little Alex Sloley's case is covered. It's really sad, but I'm just going to read you the little information that we do have. Alexander Sloley was a 16-year-old boy when he disappeared on the 11th of July 2008. Alex's nickname was Gog due to him wearing glasses, and he lived in Finsbury Park in North London with his mum and 3 sisters. His mum described him as being someone that loved football, as many young guys do. He also took a lot of pride in his appearance and always smelt great and loved buying nice clothes, and he was just all round a really nice boy. He was attending college, the City and Islington College, and was also very good at maths, very academically smart, and he was actually about to study an accountancy course there, which he was excited for. Alex's birthday was on the 13th of July, so literally he disappeared 2 days before he would turn 17. So Alex had been staying at a friend's, and his friends lived in Edmonton Green, which is not far from where he lived. And all there is to say about this is that Alex stayed at a friend's house for a few nights. He then left at about midday on the 11th of July and seemingly walked home. It doesn't say if he got public transport. It literally just says that he left and he was on his way home, and then he never came home. His mum knew that something was wrong. She said that it was completely unlikely that he ran away. As I said, he was just leaving a friend's house. Even if he was going to run away, surely you would plan this a bit easier for yourself. Why would you just leave a friend's house after staying there for a few days? You're not going to be prepared. You're not going to have everything you need. Also, just had the clothes on his back. He had a cell phone and he had very small amount of money, under £5. He also did not have his passport and he did not have a car. There's been no statement online from the friends that he stayed with. I'm assuming it's because he was a minor at the time, but there's been nothing to do with that online. I'm assuming he was cleared, but that is literally all the information we have, which is really difficult for me to say because I know that Andrew has so much more publicity, which he deserves, of course, but I feel like every child that goes missing deserves as much attention as possible. So this brings me to the whole point of this video. I don't know about you, but I can see some links in this case. First of all, two boys who went missing just 2 miles apart. Although Andrew was from Doncaster, he went to London and he was at King's Cross station. Islington and Edmonton Green are about a 2-mile drive from here. They were both travelling when they went missing. They were very similar in age and they were just a few miles apart. I really feel like if someone did abduct Andrew, then they could have likely striked again. It's very unlikely that a serial killer or a predator is just going to attack once. I feel like it's likely they're going to reoffend. And the fact that they went missing so close to one another, they're very similar in age, they were both very academically smart, they were both math students, they both even had glasses. I know it probably sounds so stupid just putting that in, but it just seems strange to me. And probably the biggest point I'm trying to make is that they've both never been seen or heard from again. So there were a few reported sightings of Alex in Islington, but nothing had been confirmed. So again, this is just speculation. There's also been some accounts of Andrew being made present online. People have said that on a sort of game chat, a boy called Andy Rue admitted to someone that he was the missing boy Andrew Gosden. But we get this all the time with people who are just messing about and just being really unfair. So going back to my point, I find it so weird that they both have never been seen or heard from again. It's really unlikely that people, when they go missing, have no trace found of them. I know that tends to be the cases that I cover, but a lot of the time people are found and they're found either dead or alive, but they are normally found, or there's normally a suspect, or there's normally a clue, a witness. But with these two boys, within 10 months of each other, to both disappear in a very similar way, I just find bizarre. I can't ignore the fact that I feel like someone could have been in London and could have been looking for young boys, essentially. It's also really strange because they went missing in central London. As we know, London is extremely populated with CCTV. There's thousands of cameras all across London. So unless the police just aren't sharing some sort of CCTV, it's just a mystery how both boys have gone missing and not ever been caught on CCTV after their last movements, which suggests to me that someone could have offered them both a lift, and that's why they're not picked up walking around on foot anywhere in London. Both boys had had a sketch release to show a progression of what they may look like later in life, and I'm just going to put up the two pictures for you now. Andrew Gosden would be 27 years old by now. He may have glasses, as he did have heavily prescribed glasses. He may have changed his hairstyle, but he tended to have light brown hair which swooped across his face. Alex Sloley would be around 29 years old at the moment. He was a mixed race boy. He had glasses as well at the time, but obviously he may not have them now. If you have any information on the two missing boys, whether you knew them then or you think you know them now, then please contact the Missing Persons Foundation on 116000, and you can call or text that number. In 2017, a retired police officer commented that there may be a potential connection between Alex and Andrew. This has come from an experienced police officer. So the fact that he sees this as well, I think, just shows that there is potentially one person or persons connected to both of these boys' cases. He said that that potential link needs to be investigated. It's extremely sad for these cases because even if the boys' bodies were found, which would be tragic, at least then the family would have some closure about what happened. It's just unfathomable that your teenage son would have left the home one day or been on his way back from a friend's and never came home, and has then never been seen or heard from 13 years later. That's all for today. It was a bit of a different one, but I just really wanted to put this out there. And also, I know other people have picked up on this. I have seen a lot of posts on Reddit about this, so I just felt compelled to make this video and discuss the potential links. But please let me know what you think. Do you think this is just a complete coincidence, or do you think that this could be connected? See you next time. Thank you. Bye.